to watch for the moves, they're not hard to find. Strong arm tactics so loud, only themselves in mind. Every player has dreams of making Orca fame. They'll live on in the minds of those who get in their way. Orcas all say, don't come for me. Midners boots, they're so vain. As we set up the podcast webcam, the pod is here to talk Orca game. Orca King CK with delusions of fame. In this LRG world, he's the apex predator. Danny and Jules in tow, always ready to go. Now it's time for the show, they're the apex predators.
Hello and welcome to the Orca Pod, the apex predators of Australian Survivor LRG podcasting. We are here. It was the big moment, the premiere of Melbourne Survivor 4 Uncharted Waters live at Eden's Cinema. I couldn't be in Melbourne, but I hear it was an incredible night for everyone involved to see this fantastic episode on the big screen. I won't do too much introduction because we have so much to get through tonight. Buckle in. Don't plan anything for the rest of your night because it could go on a while. We've got a fantastic premiere to talk about. We're going to get into all the detail of the twists, the turns, and the boots, and get the opinions of our freshly minted orcas on all these decisions, both made by production and by the cast in this amazing first episode. Then, of course, we're going to have not one, but two interviews with the first boot, Xavier, and sadly, the people's champion, Nat, who was eliminated so early and so disappointingly and so sadly early in the game. Interviews with both of them. I'm sure they are both going to have a lot to say about their respective boots. And then TWIOLSH is back and joining us for the first episode of TWIOLSH this season will be the creator and host of Melbourne Survivor 4, Liz. And last time she came on, I absolutely destroyed her. So let's see if she can come on and perform a little bit better on this week's TWIOLSH. All right, so without any further ado, let me bring in the orcas for this week. Now, I know many of you are going to be disappointed, but sadly this week, the bounty hunter, Marc Newby himself, could not attend due to work commitments, but he'll be with us most of the season. But we will be joined by two orcas returning from the draft. She promises to be a little bit nicer this time for those that got a bit hurt feelings. We're all going to be nicer. She's going to be nicer. Without letting me produce, the queen of Canberra versus the world. Welcome.
Hi. I will be nicer. I will.
I know you
promise.
will be. And making Ash is coming to bring the Tortuga buff. I was wearing the Nassau buff last week, and generally I wear the buff of the boot. And we have two boots this week, but I chose the Tortuga because last week I wore Nassau all week. So from moving forward, assuming there are singular boots, I will wear
I'm in
a
pink
singular
for my boy Xavier, so
I love it. You were going to draft him higher than you did. Yes. And joining us on the show for his first appearance, couldn't make the draft. I of course, did a spectacular impression. I think we were all impressed by my impression. He was impressed by my impression. Let us welcome the orca of Backyard 4, Josh O'Brien. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be here officially without CK doing an impression of me, but I did like that. I didn't find it offensive. I think people were wanting me to cancel you, but I really liked it actually. Yeah.
Were you getting feedback that I had to be cancelled for that?
Yeah, the woke mafia was coming for you, but I questioned it.
Well, I get it. It's fair. I only did it with your approval. And it wasn't in any way slanderous to a group of people. It was only slanderous to you and the way you speak sometimes. And I know you can take it. And speaking of, can we take it? I want to get your first impressions on this brand new episode. Loz, what did you think?
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. For those who don't know, I've just gotten back to Papua New Guinea after a 5-week overseas holiday away from Papua New Guinea. And coming back to Papua New Guinea is the most miserable thing on the planet. But I had saved the episode for when I got back. So I flew back in yesterday and I saved the episode for last night. And I watched it last night. And honestly, it was the literal highlight of coming back to Papua New Guinea. So I thought it was awesome. I took a ton of notes because so many things happened and I wanted to make sure I remembered them all. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
I'm glad you took notes because I didn't arrange for someone to take notes. And normally Danny does that, but you've stepped in for her perfectly. So we'll get you to run through your notes as a bit of a play-by-play of what happened in the episode, and then Josh and I can provide comments or questions. But Josh, what was your first overall thought of the episode?
Yeah, I really liked it. It was, really cool location. And just thought it was really good. Yeah, I mean, I've watched like all the LRG seasons up until this point, and just as time goes on, the quality just seems to get better and better. And yeah, it was great. And I took some notes as well, but probably not as good as Loz's, but we should be able to keep it structured. It'd be good.
Jules is getting snarky in the comments. Normally Danny does. Look, you also take notes, but normally we give Danny the responsibility of going through the notes, because otherwise you and I would just speak perpetually, Jules, and it lets Danny get a word in because even though she's a massive orca, in the presence of myself and yourself, sometimes it's hard for her to have her say. So that's why we do it that way, and I'm sure Loz would have her say either way. But the center person does the notes, and that's just the way I've deemed it. Going into the episode, I would have to say, as someone who was there on the day, it's funny because you only see parts of things going on and what have you. A lot of this cast really popped in the confessionals, and don't take this as an offense, any of this cast, but in a way I didn't think they were going to pop so well. Like the confessionals and these characters were across the board really enjoyable and entertaining. What do you guys think about that?
Yes. I mean, I think the way it was set up initially, so it was, to me, it was a dramatic start to the game that set it up to be a little bit more epic, and having them on the beach the way that they were with Liz coming in on the jet ski, it set...
Let's pause for a second there. What do we think of the jet ski moment?
I thought it was really cute.
I thought it was the cutest.
Yeah.
It was Jeff
like, how did they
Probst
get the budget? Who did they scam a jet ski off?
Yeah.
Did you realize that was me driving the jet ski? Do you guys know this? Surely you know this.
No, I didn't see.
Do you have a jet ski?
So backstory, I really thought it'd be really cool to drive Liz in on a jet ski. So I went and specifically got my boat license so I could drive a jet ski. Then I hired the jet ski. I had to pick it up from a spot about an hour down the coast and drove it like on the jet ski all the way to there, picked Liz up, and then we went out into the ocean and sort of sat there. We had a very nice moment because Liz fell in the water getting on the jet ski too, and so she was freezing. So I'm like, you can hug me like if you like from the back for some body warmth. She's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then like 10 minutes later, she's like, I want that hug now. The poor thing was shivering. And so that was
the most ridiculous story, CK, I think I've ever heard. You actually went and got your boat license in order to drive the jet ski.
Correct. It's exactly what I did.
I mean, it's a level of commitment that I'm not sure I possess. So I can appreciate that level of commitment. What I thought it added was, well, it makes me think of Daddy Jeff. And I know he's been cancelled at the moment, but everyone's going to get over it. And it was a Jeff Probst kind of move, a kind of epic start. And to me, that's with the, the cast kind of striding along the cliff face. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was it was epic. It gave me epic vibes.
Thank you. It probably didn't end up being as epic as I thought it would be. I thought we might get some drone footage, but I don't think we arranged that. But anyway, and then it's hilarious that like the way I just dumped Liz in the water and she sort of just she almost goes underwater.
And no one came out to rescue her. Nobody ran out going, "Oh my God, Liz, don't drown. You're our host. We need you." Everyone just stood there.
No one would rescue Jeff either, and Liz was fine. She just walked out of the water.
People would rescue.
Yeah. All right, tell me. Okay, so we talked about the jet ski. That was my moment, my little cameo. I was even wearing my yellow playing with fire buff, yellow Flago. It was all on. Anyway, go back and watch it. Freeze frame it. You'll see me. Okay, so you can continue now. We've discussed the jet ski. They're on the beach and the jet ski has arrived. How did you feel about this epic moment?
Yeah, I thought it was really cute. Like Liz was like giving the charisma. The cast all looked pretty excited to be there. I did like the shots on the beach and stuff. Yeah, I thought it was really good opening and yeah, very different because I think most or every LRG is, always just in like a kind of bush environment. So to be on a beach was very unique. So yeah, Melbourne did that.
What did you guys then think about this initial challenge? They have to build some rafts. I don't know if it was clear, but one person had to be on the raft.
On the raft. Yes. Okay. I didn't catch that until I was trying to work out why Nat was on the raft. And then I realized that Chris was on the raft too.
Yeah.
But I did have to kind of do a double take. My first thing is I hate the water. Like I hate it. I hate being wet. I hate my hair getting wet. I hate being wet and cold. And it looked cold. And people were in singlets and shorts. And I thought, you're all going to get soaking wet and have to be in the water. And then you're going to be freezing. So straight away, I just have massive respect for this cast because it would have taken a lot to get me to go into the water when it's cold. It takes a lot to get me to go into the water.
If you were there,
I don't know. I don't know why this would be my season. I feel like this would not be my season. I'm a land baby.
It's like, I'm
so
done.
Straight away, I was like, kudos to all of this crew that they signed up for Uncharted Waters with the waters in the title. And then the raft building was, I just loved the chaos of one tribe versus the other and the knots that were going on. Hannah's knots. I took some notes on it. So I said, Tortuga was a disaster when it came to knots. The raft looked like one of those driftwood nets that like clump together in the ocean and then trap innocent sea life and kill seabirds and stuff. So I hope that the Tortuga raft didn't stay in the ocean at the end.
And Hannah, I think, was bossing everyone around, telling them how to tie knots, and later confessed to us that she doesn't really know shit about tying knots, which was quite a moment I felt from Hannah.
Which I think was, upon reflection, was clear, but at the time, I don't know I'd love to know what she was telling them, like, just keep wrapping it around and then twist it up or...
Yeah, it was amazing that she just made it up out of nowhere, but pulled it off and it worked somehow. And people even commented like how good she was at like coaching them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that knot skills saved her completely, as we'll talk about later. Mars says that if you watch it, he did nothing. He was just running around pretending to help. As a first challenge, they've got to go through the water and they've got to do a word puzzle. How did you didn't win much, but how did you feel about it as a first sort of challenge concept to kick off the show? Epic?
I liked it. I thought that was a pretty badass first challenge.
Yeah, like I would have been fuming to like Loz. I hate getting wet. I'm like an indoor cat. I hate cold water. I hate water in general. I would have been furious, but as a viewer to watch it, it was really good. It just Yeah, the concept of it was a bit confusing though. Like I was a bit unsure what the challenge really was, but
Yeah, I think they knew what it was. So clearly the cast knew. Maybe it just came in the edit that maybe it didn't get described as clearly, because I was lost with why Nat was floating along on the raft for a while.
They had to get there. One person had to be on the raft, and they had to do the word puzzle once they got to the beach. That was basically.
And obviously there were no parameters around what your raft had to look like, because Tortuga did a triangle shaped stretcher looking thing, right? Whereas Nassau did this 4x4 crisscrossy, looked like a whole lot more work.
I think the concept was they had to support the person, which it seems like both of theirs did. So they met the brief.
Could you have just done like 2 pieces of wood and tied them together and like had someone straddle it? Float along?
I missed all of this. I was returning the jet ski. But so this was my first time seeing this. They get to the beach and we get introduced to the concept the tribes are going to split up and go to Uncharted Waters, the namesake of the season. Before we get into how those decisions were made, what did you think about the Uncharted Waters location, this old, grown-over World War II fort?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I thought it was amazing. Really unique, like lots of crevices and cracks everywhere to hide in and stuff. Yeah, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
The concept here, where the production has decided to split the 2 tribes into 4 and allow them to go to this location, which obviously means they can look for advantages or they can interact with each other. That's quite a twist compared to traditional Survivor. And as we know, you love old school Survivor. The shirt said it all. What do you think about this as a concept for an LRG?
I'd be devastated, honestly, because what it does, I would, because all of a sudden, no matter what group you end up in, either you're missing out on whatever the advantages potentially are going to be, and there was no way to know that the other group was going to swap later on and have that chance to go. So those first 4 might have been the only opportunity to go to Uncharted Waters for, who knows, 24 hours. So you're missing out on advantages. And then you're basically then stuck with potentially 3 people who may or may not be people you had any intention of working with at camp. I think it just limits your options significantly super early on. And that would make me really nervous.
Yeah,
Josh, counterpoint?
Yeah, I agree. I do think the concept of like having the other, like half of the opposing tribe there for potential interaction, like is a really good idea. But yeah, it would stress me out, like splitting up from half of your tribe. And like Loz said, there might be people there where, you're like, oh, I don't feel like I'm going to even vibe with them, or they might have just annoyed you in the challenge and then you're stuck with them. And we know time is precious in any LRG and you don't want to be wasting any minute with people that, you feel like you're not going to vibe with them anyway. But I do think it was a good twist. It was kind of like a summit from like new school Survivor, but just half the tribe, like, a bit wild. And as a viewer, it was a little bit hard to figure out who's on what tribe and like picture the tribes in my head of alliances and stuff going forward. It did make that a little bit difficult, but then the episode was longer and we got a lot more time later on to make up for that. So I thought it worked.
I guess the counterpoint.
I was just a little confused about how the decisions were made, because we didn't see a lot of how that split happened. And I thought that would be quite important. And as it turned out, we did find out that it was, at least for Blue Tribe.
Like Nat.
Yeah.
Nat picked them all and said, you, we're going. And I think Xavier might have picked them. Nassau people in the chat too, that's right. But as Jules and Ash have said, they were told that the remaining 4 would get to go that later that night. They knew that if you missed out, then you would get another chance. I think that the the point of it was, and we've all experienced this in LRGs. Sometimes, if everyone's there together, it can be very kumbaya, and it's hard to break away and have a one-on-one chat or a one-on-two chat, right? And if you actually split people into groups of 4 at the camp, then let's say one person goes for a confessional or 2 people go for a confessional, you can have a chat. And what we actually saw even on Tortuga is they all split up in sort of 2s and had little chats, which seemed to quite strengthen that group. Whereas on Nassau, that didn't seem to happen at all. So it seems like some people took advantage of the opportunity, and I hear what you say about not wanting to interact with people you don't like. But my view would be at the beginning of Survivor, you would be prepared to work with anyone until you find yourself in a solid position, and then you can vote out someone you don't like. If someone doesn't like you, if you don't like someone but they like you, so what? Great. Is that a problem?
Yeah.
I think for Loz, I mean, maybe I'm talking for Loz, but I know we're probably similar. Like if I got put there with like, I don't know, the alpha males and stuff, I'd be like, oh, for God's sake, where are the girls and the gays? Like I'd feel stitched up immediately. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how the split goes and how long then Uncharted Waters takes. So how long are the tribes actually separated? It did actually feel like a fairly lengthy amount of time because they were trying to build shelters.
I think from memory it was about 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not so bad. But yeah, I mean, I liked it as a twist. Was it made clear, though, that the 2 groups from both tribes were going to Uncharted Waters together? And was that clear until they got there? Because that's a pretty big twist to allow like half of each tribe.
You guys need to answer that because I knew that was happening. So I'm hearing and I'm watching it with the knowledge that would occur. So you tell me, Josh, did you think that was clear or not? Not sure.
I probably would have assumed so, but I would maybe be even overthinking, thinking, oh my God, we're getting split into halves. Maybe like what half of what we think our tribe is going to be, maybe they switch over and you don't even know. And then coming back, it's the other side. You never know. Like it could have been any twist.
Yeah.
And so they knew both tribes were going. So what might not have been as clear for you guys watching it is once you got there was a map that showed you where the idols were going to be. Yet no one on this first group were able to locate these idols. How bizarre is that? Like, what are you guys doing? You're there.
Oh yeah, because they were standing there and Byron was reading the sign. Is that where it was? The map thing on there. Yeah. Okay. Well,
so is that deliberate though? Did people deliberately not look at the map so that it was clear nobody was focusing on the map where the idols were, so it wouldn't make them a target?
Maybe I've mistaken here.
Jules is right.
I thought Jules found it later. I got confused. Okay, so Jules and Chris find an idol here together. Tell us about that moment, what you think about that. It's Chris's idol. He's put his little hands on it. He's got it. It's his possession. And then he's like, you take it, Jules. And she's like, are you sure? Are you sure? Give me that idol. Give it to me. What did you guys think of that moment?
This really annoyed me. Seriously. I thought they were really cute pairing. And like from my first impressions, I thought Chris was, going to be really sweet, really nice, but he wouldn't be able to handle like the pressure of the game. And he's going to be very, like not take charge of his own game and be like somebody else's like second fiddle. And that's exactly what he was. Like loveliest guy, really sweet. Clearly his social game was good. But for me, that was so annoying as someone who likes to see people make bold moves and stuff. Literally finds an idol. Him and Jules like, yeah, happy. It seemed like nobody else saw. And then he just fully gives it to Jules. And even Jules was like, oh my God, no, it's yours. You keep it. And he literally like forces it to her. what is that about? Like, seriously, that really annoyed me. Why would you do that?
This great quote from Luca. Jules said, "Are you sure you're giving it to me while putting it around her neck?" And then I think
Jules, but what is Chris doing?
Do we get a confessional from Chris where he says, I know she'll play it on me if she has to? Do we get one from Jules where she says the same? Do we think Jules is in Jules' head? Because look, I'll be honest, you see this all the time in Survivor when they find idols together. This is a team idol. I'll play it on you. It's like, oh, but what they're really saying is, I'll play it on you if it benefits my fucking game to play it on you. If there's no benefit, I'm not going to play it on you. It's mine. Like if I save you, I'm saving a number. Sure.
I see it differently. I really do. And this was one of my favorite moments of the first episode. And maybe I'm reading into it more. Maybe it truly was as simple as Chris just not wanting to put a target on his back. But that locks Jules into a very powerful connection with Chris, where he knows she has it. He can tell everybody that she has it. That idol suddenly loses so much power because everyone can know about it the moment Chris decides to tell everybody. So there's no secret or power to it of playing it, at a last-ditch effort when everyone knows she's got it. He doesn't have it. So the target's not on him. The target will be on Jules if it comes down to it. She's the one with the idol in her hand. I thought that was a power move. Idols are treacherous depending on how you play them. And if you play them incorrectly, if you tell the wrong person about them, they're worthless. So I think he has an upper hand now on Jules and power to manipulate potentially other people if she becomes a target to go, well, that we have this shared idol. She might play it on me.
I think that's a fantastic take. I feel like Josh disagrees completely. He's seething over there. What do you want to say, Josh?
I can see.
No, like I see all of those points, but I just think weighing up the archetype that Chris is, like, him and I are probably physically more similar. I obviously would choose the more bold and like outgoing kind of gameplay to take it for myself. And knowing like Chris probably is one of the weaker physically, especially when you line him up against all the men, I would be thinking, I'm going to be a target for my challenge weakness. I would want that idol for myself. And I love that Jules and him are locked in. Love that. Maybe they got that super strong vibe early, but you never know. The game's been on for 20 minutes, like you say. You never know what can happen. Jules might just keep it for herself and pick him
you
up.
Don't think, though, that if Chris is potentially the target, he's kept the idol, he hasn't shared it with Jules, you don't think Jules is going to throw him under the bus knowing he has it and potentially, coordinate a blindside to get rid of him with the idol? I think that's more likely. That's what I would do.
Well, I think they found it definitely together. So I think Jules would have been in on it no matter what. I just think the possession of it, Chris should have kept it in for himself to have the agency and the control of it. Just in case.
What would have been fascinating is if we had actually seen Chris find it by himself, and then he would have been actually making a decision about sharing it or passing it on. Whereas, if he kept it, then everything you say, Loz, is reversed in that then Jules knows he has the idol and she could throw him under the bus. So like it's a great point about why he's passed it on, but if he found it himself, he might have just pocketed it. Like once someone knows, maybe you're better off not having it at all, as Loz suggests.
Yeah, I just think Jules, she's a strong dominant player, and I think Chris, like Josh, you said, I think he's more likely to be a target. Do you really want to be painting an even bigger target on yourself by having this idol in your back pocket that now somebody else knows about who may potentially turn on you? I mean, it gets rid of the idol, right? And then Chris is gone too, which solves everybody's problems if he becomes the target. I don't know. I thought it was a ballsy move early in the game, and I liked his reasoning for it.
Okay.
I'll take us away from Uncharted Waters unless anyone's got anything specific that happened in that mix-up. I think that was the main things that occurred. Going back to the Blue Tribe, we see some formations of some relationships, and we get a lot of confessionals from Greg, which actually are really fantastic. I didn't recall Greg being such dynamo in it. Look, I didn't do his confessionals. I didn't have the Blue Tribe. So all this blue stuff is really new to me. And I really love Greg's confessionals. Do you know whose confessionals I also loved? KK. She's like a mile a minute, like just spraying out like thoughts and feelings, like an endless spree of just her mind working. But she seems so innocent and so cute at the same time that I think it's actually really endearing to the audience and all her castmates. I think they all just were like, this girl's great.
I lost count of the number of people who said at some point during the episode how much they liked Christelle and wanted to work with her. So she's obviously got, great energy. Like she described it as chaotic energy, but it's clearly, like you said, it's endearing energy. She's building rapport with people. So, and agreed, straight up, Greg is strategizing. And I mean, maybe it was the edit, or maybe Ashley and Mars were just being a little bit more reserved to see what the others did, but Greg and KK seemed to lead the conversations, and I was impressed.
I was. Oh yeah,
Christelle in this episode was insane to watch. It was so good. She would be mid-convo, lose her train of thought, and then pivot to something completely different. I do want to say about Greg. I know Mark can't be with us today, but he wanted to say in our chat that. What did he say? He wants it on the record that he stands Greg now. His ability to play water off a duck's back impressed me.
Yeah, and I second that. Like from the drafting and like the pre-game sort of pick, I was not very high on Greg. I thought, this commune stuff, it's not going to work. And honestly, he was charming people in the game. He was charming me watching him. He was looking really cute. Like, honestly, he was like really impressive. I was like, okay, I'm actually rooting for you. And in my little notes, I was like, yeah, it really impressed me because it seemed like Greg was the one to start the talk of the Alliance of Four. So it was Greg, Mars, Ash, and KK. And I think he was making moves, but he was doing it in, just like a kind of funny, warm way. I think it was with Mars first up. And it didn't seem to be coming across too aggressive and too sketchy, whereas some other players, as we saw later on, were too aggressive and it turned people off. So I think, Greg contrasted to other players later on, maybe like Hannah, maybe Xavier, Nat. Like it really showed the differences in social gameplay and what worked and what didn't.
And what do you think?
There was a subtlety to it.
Yeah.
Speaking of subtlety, we know Ash has played before. We've all seen her play before. Could you guys, what do you think of the way she was playing? And do you think that there was a bit of second game skill set going on there in terms of her approach with her tribe?
Oh, 1,000%. Ash is such a smart player, and she played the kind of, clueless, just, I sucked in the challenge. It was just, I love watching her play. She just controls the dynamic around her. And there's no, chance to it. There's all thought to it. And I think her confessional a little bit later in the game is one of my most favorite moments of the whole first episode. You see this Ashley who's being so sweet, and KK's like, I really like Ashley and we're getting along so great and it's all so much fun and everyone's playing cricket. And then you've got this savage Ash confessional just trashing everyone in the game. And I love watching her play. I love it.
She had a conversation with someone. Was it Christelle who said to her, I just think we've got the same vibe. We're just here to have fun and vibe with people. And Ash is like, yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm about. Just having vibes and good times with Survivor.
It's just so good. And she could convince anybody of anything. It's amazing. I love it. I'm so
there was one person later on, like, although they've got this alliance of 4, and then potentially the 5th number with Evan pulled in. But there was a confessional later on where Mars mentioned like something like he loves Ash, but he can see that she might stab him in the back in the future. So Mars definitely was clocked on to Ash a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Like, I wouldn't want to go to the M with her. Was it something like that?
Something like that, or he could see her knifing him, or something like he could see her turning on him at one point in the future.
He sees through the facade that some of the other people aren't seeing.
Do we know who, like, if people had seen Canberra 1 at this point? Like, did people know who Ash was?
You could have seen it. From memory, I don't think any of these people had.
Okay. Didn't do their homework. That's their first mistake.
Let's talk about the formation. Jules knew who she was. Because Jules had played. Look, actually, a few of these people might have known. It wouldn't have been they've necessarily watched Canberra, but a few of these people came from Melbourne trials. Jules had played a trial, like a one-day non-filmed game. Byron had, Mars had. So certainly those people would know who she is. Aaron, here we go. Ash says, Aaron, Jules, Danny, Mars, Shelley were in the community and had the potential to know, but I don't know how many of those people actually watched Canberra 1.
It's all about picking your audience. So you don't turn that kind of charm on Mars. You put it on to people who aren't going to know who you are, which I think is
of course. Adam knew her. Yeah. Adam was well embraced in the community. Going over to the Pink Tribe, we've got a group that's left there of who's there?
Shelley, Danny, Adam and Xavier. So my notes were felt for Danny being at camp with Shelley and Adam, super, super chilled, and Xavier pretending to be chilled. Made it impossible to start talking game or strategy. There was no way anyone was going to be the first person to break. And funnily enough, I think as it flowed on then, getting ahead of ourselves to tribal the next day, they wouldn't even strategize the night before. So whatever the combination of personalities or for whatever reason, there was a real reluctance to start delving into strategy, which I think was Xavier's downfall, ultimately.
There was another downfall for Xavier, which didn't make the edit, and I can bring you the behind-the-scenes content. I remember seeing this. I don't know why it didn't make it, but it was quite a pivotal moment because Danny was not a big fan of Xavier, and it was this one conversation that he had with her and other people around where she revealed that she had traveled from Sydney to the group. And Xavier's response to this was, well, I won't be voting you out then, and I'll make sure you don't get voted out then because you traveled and I wouldn't want that to happen. And I understood where he was coming from. He was trying to be nice, but I knew Danny from having interviewed her, and I knew who she was. And I just said, "Oh, that was a mistake, mate," because I knew in her head she was like, "I don't need you to save me, whoever the fuck you are. Yeah. I can save myself." And I knew that's how she took it. And she said, he asked me how he could help me stay in the game. And I knew Xavier's heart was in the right place. It absolutely was. But I knew Danny had taken it in the exact wrong way that he intended. And that was dangerous. It didn't make the edit, but it was, I think, a relevant factor to part of why he might have got voted out.
Yeah. I would think he had made a real point of saying he was trying to downplay his assertive, more aggressive personality, and it's the not how can I help myself, it's how can I help you help yourself kind of.
Yes.
And I think maybe he just overthought it. To me, it just sounds like a lot of overthinking. But I mean, getting back to camp with Shelley and Adam, who obviously are just they're such calm, chilled personalities. They're talking about how great all the personalities on the tribe were and how nice everyone seems. You've got Xavier, who's working his butt off to try and be like that, even though I don't think he is. I would have got there as Danny and gone, oh my God, like, you know, I'll be down on the beach like Sheehan, you know, trying to make an alliance with the stick kind of thing.
Yeah. So I guess this alternate approach, if you're going to say something like that, like I would say, you tell me if you think this would be better, Loz. We say, oh, you've traveled. That must mean like you really care about the game. I really care about the game. I'd love to work with you because I love that, you know, that your keenness to be here.
Absolutely. You find it as common ground instead of patronizing, because that's how it comes across. It's patronizing. And I believe that he didn't mean it that way. I think it probably was him overthinking, trying to tone down his personality. But yeah, you go, holy shit, you traveled from Sydney for this. That's fucking awesome. Like, you must be so excited to be here. I'd hate for you to go first because that's a ton of effort. You know, so if you wanted to work with me and we could move forward, I'd be so on board.
And it was just a slightly wrong read as well. That message could probably work on Shelley. If he finds out Chris is, you know, from another country, could probably work on Chris. Danny was just like the wrong person for that statement.
100%. Yeah.
But it goes into like what we said in our predictions, where this is a cast full of strong women. And, you know, if he said that, like, to Danny, obviously didn't take it the right way. Jules probably wouldn't have. Ash probably would have. Like, Hannah wouldn't.
I'm sure Nat wouldn't have taken it the right way.
Yeah. I mean, Loz, you would be like, if someone said that to you, you'd be like, I'm voting you straight up.
Yeah, like, I'd be like, what do you mean? Oh, you want to keep me around? That's nice. Well, maybe I don't want to keep you around.
Yeah, and it sucks because I actually thought, because obviously that wasn't on the show, but I thought Xavier was coming across better than I thought he would. Like, in the Meet the Cast, I thought, he might be a bit patronizing, you know, whatever. And I thought he was, doing a good job, but maybe that one comment.
Same. And I liked that he had the insight to recognize that his personality was going to be dominating if he didn't focus on downplaying it. I think he picked that there were some really big, you know, female energies there, or maybe not. Maybe it was just an overall strategy. But I was super hopeful because having that self-awareness can be the difference between staying or going.
I do think, you know,
I think from that perspective we got that self-awareness, but it worked for one and didn't work for either. So
I think that, you know, from memory, I was there. I was around that tribe the whole time, and that's about the one thing he did, I think, that really made the difference. I think the rest of his behavior was like spot on with the game he was trying to play, and he was a genuinely nice guy. And I think he was bringing that across. It was just that one moment. I don't know why Hannah decided to hate on him like so badly. I don't know where that came from.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're gonna be gone. I'm like, did something happen?
Well, let me read. I actually wrote down this confessional. I know we're jumping ahead, and we can jump back after the challenge. But Hannah, we are voting Xavier out because he's the weakest link in this chain. He doesn't have a particularly good attitude to the game. He's physically weak. He's mentally weak. He just doesn't have the determination that I want in my team. Oh my God, it's fucking savage.
I need to I'm going to have this conversation with Hannah and find out where that came from, because in the draft last week, my absolute first pick of the guys, knowing how I feel about the guys generally, my first pick was Xavier. I liked his energy. So I want to know, where did I go so wrong? Like, what did I miss that Hannah saw? It was a hardcore vote for the first vote. Like, that confessional to vote the very first person of your tribe out. Whew.
I think that you know, people get the storing. I don't think the storing is relevant. This isn't real Survivor. There's one more night to go, and you know, half of you aren't going to be there. So I don't think anyone cares about the story. Yes, if you played for 30, I know you're saying it's the next level. If you played for 30 days, sure, it's relevant. I can't see how it's relevant in a 2-night game. I just don't.
No.
I mean, if it's that, then say it's that.
Well,
like,
they did
it's really the snoring. Didn't say. Well, I mean, but like Hannah's confessional didn't say you snore so bad, so I hate you and I want you to leave. She said you're the weakest, soggiest, whateverest person, and I don't want you in my game and I want you gone. So I don't know. I've shared sleeping spaces with I feel like every possible person on planes and buses and overnight things, and snoring's annoying, like, but is that really?
It's not.
And I do
I don't
think
know. They'll have to tell me.
Sorry. I do think he looked like he would be a very strong challenge competitor as well. So to say he's the weakest link, I think that's just not true.
Just, it felt like she was looking for a justification for it. Maybe they just didn't click as people.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a bit of this. Adam said something like this here that I didn't quite understand. I believe Xavier questioned if we should consider other options in the opening challenge. And what Mars has clarified is apparently it was the first challenge when Hannah was telling everyone what to do. And Xavier asked if anyone else had other ideas. And obviously, she took great offense to that. I think that's a reasonable thing to say, but
what's wrong with that?
Well,
I can see you taking
okay, so if that's the case, so then how did Hannah get so much influence over the rest of the tribe?
Yeah.
That she was able, that the fact that she felt whatever threatened by Xavier, that she was able to spin the whole tribe around because it was unanimous, right?
Yeah, and for someone, isn't she like the youngest in the game? So how did the youngest and she even said she didn't know what she was doing. She just made it up in the challenge. So why would she be offended if someone says, "Oh, you know," maybe if he said, "Oh, I'm you little girl," like that's rude. But if he just said, "Oh, does anyone else have ideas?" I don't think that's bad. It's a team challenge.
I think Byron voted for her, which was interesting because they developed an early relationship. Byron and Hannah had actually formed a bit of a bond. So, but let's jump to the challenge and come back to the voting decision. What do you think of the idea of having? This is the first time I believe it's been done. We have a reveal that both tribes will be going to tribal council in the morning. We're going to have a challenge that evening for individual immunity for each tribe. What do you guys think of that as a structure for the game?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I really liked it. And one of the reasons I liked it was there's a real stigma of being the first person voted out of the game that I don't think you can avoid, no matter whether you're there for the experience or not. And what I liked about it was that it sort of evened the playing field a little bit. So there wasn't a first boot. There were two people who didn't make it. And maybe that's just a me thing, but that would give me some comfort knowing that it wasn't just me who, my tribe wanted to get rid of. It was the structure of the game and two people were basically sacrificed as a result. So I really liked that component of it. And while it sucks for two people to go at the same time, I would hope that there's a level of camaraderie between the two. But as a challenge, awesome challenge. I want to know what the percentage of your body weight was in the bucket.
I can't remember the percentage, but I remember it was done on percentages because I had to ask everyone their weight. And some of the women were not particularly impressed with me asking them that question.
You would have thought.
But I did have to because that was they understood why I was doing it. They knew it was going to be for a challenge. But I did have to ask everyone their weight. So it was done on percentage of body weight. Massive, I think, props to Brady and Max, who designed and built this challenge. Most of the challenges in this season were designed by Brady's brainchild in his own head. And then Max built most of them. And then they both contributed. But it's an incredible contraption they put together for an amateur survivor. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my God. I was looking at the pulleys and I'd love to do that challenge. I want to do that challenge, please.
Apparently I was questioning Adam's answer. I assume he said he was lighter than I was accepting he was. I was like, what? No, that you weigh more than that, mate. You're trying to con me. Don't con me, Adam. And then obviously, look, the weakness in the challenge, which we realized quite quickly, was that the buckets were only plastic buckets and they can only hold so much water. So as the challenge went, there had to be a need for various changes to make it end, though the Tortuga tribe collapsed quite quickly. Was that a surprise to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Not
was
based on
surprised.
the reward challenge.
But
And
in LRGs, to be honest, I don't really take much into account of challenges. I'm all here for the strategy.
what do you think about then the
To me-
challenge of?
Me, Nassau seemed to dominate pretty solidly in the physical component of the reward challenge, and they seem to be more stacked, in my opinion. I think Byron seemed super strong, Jules super strong. I think Shelley probably had a really good body weight kind of strength ratio. To me, they were a pretty stacked tribe compared to Tortuga. So.
What do you think about the strategy? This was a strategic decision. One person could sit out for the Flint. They hadn't earned the Flint because they didn't win the first challenge. KK sits out. I think that's very smart for her. I don't think she was going to win the challenge. She's a team player sort of player. It looks good for her. I think that's smart for her. And what do you guys think about? I know it's a good idea, but you guys, depends what sort of food they gave you on your seasons. Salt and pepper as a reward. Did you guys get the plain rice on your seasons? Or did you get actual food?
We
No.
didn't. We only had like food rewards. So there was no rice, there was no lentils, there was no fire.
Yeah, okay.
And salt and pepper would not have done it for me at all. If they had offered a pizza, I'd be there all night probably.
I can tell you, because I ate nothing but plain rice for 3 days and playing with fire, a little bit of salt and pepper would have been incredible. Like, if that's all you're given, just a little bit of seasoning on that would have been delicious.
It's the first day. They've all had breakfast. They've all probably had lunch. Yeah. Like, you're going to tell me, in 2 days' time, if you're still in the game, that you're going to be really happy to have salt and pepper?
Yes, because they would be hungry. And I tell you what,
but you're asking them to think ahead.
Melbourne doesn't do food rewards. This is what you get. Eat this rice. You know how much I complain on this podcast?
I was too nervous.
You couldn't eat?
No, I was too nervous. We just got food rewards, and I literally, over like the whole game, I think I had like a mouthful of like one chip and like a little bit of pasta salad. Literally, I couldn't eat. I was too stressed out in the game.
Yeah,
it didn't show, but inside I was like, it was like I was like, high on something.
Adam has obviously not watched the show for a while. Yes, this is my real hair. Adam, thank you for your compliments. This is when I wear it with the bandana. I like to feel I've got a bit of a J from Millennials versus Gen X look. If I'm just getting excited for myself, but maybe not everyone would share that view. But that's the vibe I'm going for. I don't think Loz agrees by that look.
You look lovely, CK. You look lovely, Adam. It's my real hair too.
Yeah, it's everybody's real hair. I would like to the challenge and. I'll have to tell you that when they got down to one finger, and look, we can talk about Nat's over the line, but I think she'll want to talk about that quite a lot herself. So we'll just leave that to one side, let that come up in her interview. When they got down to the one finger, I can tell you those people came to play because all of them really hurt their fingers doing this. Like a lot of them said they couldn't bend it, that they didn't have feeling in it for like a good portion of the night. So there was a lot. People fought hard for that immunity.
Yeah, I think I loved it. I loved the fight. I loved the fact that one tribe decided to strategize throughout the challenge and the other tribe didn't. I thought this early in the game, when people aren't really like at risk of going, that they're willing to fight so hard, right down to hanging on with a finger and potentially, causing nerve damage. I loved it. I thought the whole challenge was awesome. That's the way to start the game. Set the tone. Yeah. Show who the players are. Show the people willing to fight.
Jules keeps saying this because it didn't make the edit, and like it was quite a fun
I wasn't going to go there, Jules. I really wasn't, but.
No, she made a joke to Byron about it, that basically the reason why she was so good was because she was a lesbian, and she said it, and I hadn't been filming, and then I said, actually, can you do that again? And I'll film it because that was hilarious, and it was a great bit, but sadly didn't make it. But that's what she said. That's why she won. It was her lesbian.
Hey, I was thinking it, but I wasn't going to say it. So
she said it. Don't worry. All right, so they're back. Let's talk about Strat Chat. Let's talk about the decisions. I think we've done quite a bit on that. We've done quite a bit on. Actually, I think what we will do, we've done quite a bit on Nassau already. Xavier is backstage. Let's close up the Nassau chat. We'll bring in Xavier. We'll talk to him. Then we'll do the Strat Chat on Tortuga, and then we'll talk to Nat when she arrives. So we've talked quite a bit about the strategy. What else do you want to bring up from the Nassau strategy talks?
I noticed straight away Adam had a little bit of nervous, just looking at my notes, little bit of nervous energy. He said he doesn't like big personalities, and it seemed like he kind of had it in for the stronger women. So he did mention Jules and Hannah. So I don't know, maybe he felt a little bit threatened by them, but also everybody was kind of mentioning how Hannah was a very strong player, very strong threat in the challenges. And then it was a funny cut to her confessional where that's when she's like, oh, I just winged it basically. And everyone is pretty intimidated or impressed by her, but she just said it was kind of on the fly. So that was interesting. What do you guys think?
my notes were for Hannah, and maybe it's her, maybe it's her age. I just wrote the confidence of youth. To be that ballsy and confident at 19. I'm a little I'm confused because I guess the edit sort of seemed to show a lot of people really talking about Hannah and not necessarily in a positive light, the way she was dominating and how loud she was. And there seemed to be a real push that Hannah was the vote. And then all of a sudden the vote switched. And I'm wondering why is it I'm trying to understand as a tribe why they thought Xavier was either A, more of a weak link, or B, more of a threat than Hannah as either a weak link or a threat. So I don't understand what the goal of the tribe was in getting rid of Xavier. Were they getting rid of a strong player, or were they getting rid of the weak link?
Yeah, I mean, it could link into, well, actually, in the same, linking back to Hannah from my notes, I do recall as well, when Jules and Chris were solidifying their alliance, they said they wanted to find a strong five, and they both said they weren't too much of a fan of Hannah, and that they thought she was too full on and taking control of the game. But then on the other hand, Byron said he was bonding with Hannah and he wanted to be a second in command to her. So it did seem like throughout the whole tribe, everybody either loved Hannah or wasn't a fan, but somehow almost everybody seems to then end up on her side.
Yeah,
I would like
I
to
think
maybe something happened off camera that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
I think, I talked earlier about the conversation that Danny had with Xavier that wasn't shown on the edit. I think that Danny, as Jules says here, Danny was pushing for a Xavier vote, and I can't remember. And we talked about how Byron and Hannah had a connection, yet Byron voted for her, so I'm not sure. But it seemed like it was almost a binary choice. I think we saw that in the edit that they couldn't vote for Jules. They had this sort of loose five. They couldn't vote for Jules because she was immune, so it had to be Xavier or Hannah. And I don't know what the reasons for voting about Xavier were, other than Danny got annoyed by one thing he said. And Hannah, obviously, there were reasons to vote her out. But ultimately, we've played these things before. If it's not you or someone you're really keen on working with, if someone wants to push a name, you'll just go with it, right? In the end of the day, that person.
But where did the push come from? Because it seemed like the push was for Hannah until all of a sudden it wasn't. And I don't know,
even Shelley said at one point that she didn't want to work with Hannah as well. Shelley said
We've
that.
been told in the chat that Danny was in a powerful position in the tribe, and people followed her lead, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, if that's the case, then that makes sense. And
Danny's saying that's the case. She's putting her hand up. It was her.
I do think in that situation, I think Chris could have been in danger as like a third option. And I think maybe he lucked out by Danny saying she was impressed by him in the challenge, and Jules being a very strong character would have protected him. But if I were Hannah and Xavier, I probably would have tried to throw Chris under the bus and said, look, he's the weakest physically. We can sort out our personalities later, but in terms of challenge strength, maybe make it him. But credit to his social game and his alliance with Jules, I guess. So good for him.
Yeah, I just question whether I would have wanted to keep as the the strong females in that tribe, whether Hannah was going to be much more of a threat long term than Xavier.
There's an argument to be made that the bigger threat is actually the subtle, smart, capable player who's going to be able to make relationships and play strong, and will stab you in the back if it's the right strategic move, as opposed to the huge personality that's going to rub half the people the wrong way. Like, those people generally aren't much of a threat because they'll always get voted out at some point. Whereas Xavier, you give him a bit of a runway, and he could take control of the game.
True. Like, if you go into a tribe spot with Hannah, she's going to annoy everybody and you can flip on her easy and you're one vote further.
But Xavier's the one working the other side to flip on you. Like that, he's that guy, right? He's the dangerous player. Well, with the unless we're thinking final, and of course he's a nice guy. He's had this lovely thing to say about Hannah. He had to write her name down, and he says, "Lovely girl, much younger than everyone else. Great experience, thank you." And then she's just like, "Good riddance." Her unnatural hatred for him that came out of nowhere. I don't know. Maybe he taught her and gave her an F once, and he forgot about that, and she never did. I don't know. Like, that could be the situation. Mr. Xavier gave me an F, and I hate him. Or maybe he reminded her of some teacher she had one day.
Yeah, maybe. But, I don't know. I feel like Hannah's votes are going to be like this. I feel like she's going to say something else in the game. We're going to get to confession into the voting booth, and Hannah is just going to go off tap. Right, that's my prediction.
We've got Xavier backstage, so let's bring him in, and we can talk about everything that was his game. I'm going to get my thing ready. Let's welcome Xavier.
Hey, tell me when I'm in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're in. We can hear you.
I just need to start by apologizing, Loz. I'm so sorry that you chose me on your team.
Oh, that was a significant honor, to be honest. Like, I mean, it was obvious last week. I was a little underwhelmed with our male cast, and all the vibes for you. I was devastated when I watched it last night. You had so much potential.
Yeah, and I think I've been looking through some of the comments just as I've come in, and like there's a lot that people have sort of touched upon. I think I can reveal a little bit more of what was going on from my perspective and some of the mistakes that were definitely made.
Tell us, David, why were you voted out of the game?
Well, I think it was that opening moment. You had Hannah saying, "All right, let's build the raft like this," and I just said, "Hey, look, really good. Does anybody else have any ideas here?" And I think from that moment on, sort of my name was on Hannah's lips. I think that was really, really key issue that sort of followed on. I think with everybody in our group, nobody really wanted to put any names out there. And so having that one name, there was really already out there. And I think nobody really wanted to sort of fight for somebody because they didn't want to draw any lines first up. So that was probably one of the things that I was, impacted by as well.
I know that you looked like you were surprised to get the votes. Did you feel that there was any chance that you were copying votes, or maybe one from Hannah? But did you think that there was any chance that you were going home at the Tribal Council?
Well, I think it's one of the good things that this is a really good learning experience. You come in, you go, all right, I'm going to try out a few things. But in that morning, when everybody was sort of gathering and talking, go, all right, what's the name that Hannah's got? If if I think that the vote's for Hannah, what's the name that Hannah sort of thinks the vote is? And that should be a really big clue that if you don't know who Hannah thinks it is, it's probably you. At the tribal council, I believe there was like a section that may have been cut, it may just be in my mind, where I sort of went, oh, hey guys, like just a reminder that I was the person that started the fire. I won that puzzle challenge for us. I've been really contributing to the group. So, please consider that in your voting.
We did have the moment where you made sure to claim that you started the fire. That was for certain. I think you said Hannah helped, but I started. I'm sure she loved that moment too. But it's true, you did start it. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things where I'm watching. I'm like, oh man, I hope they really show the fact that even that first challenge, that was really key. And I think it was really funny for Hannah to say, he's mentally and physically the weakest on the tribe, to be the person very funny person to solve the puzzle. And also that raft, I was one of the key people who put it together, but was holding it. You might not have seen in the water, but as we were coming up to the beach, it was falling apart. So I was one of the people that was really keeping things together there. Yeah, I don't think you were the weakest mentally or physically, and her confessional is an amazing level of delusion. Did you realize that somehow you were rubbing her in such the wrong way while you were there?
I think I didn't. I think that was something that Hannah actually hid pretty well. She was just like, oh, I'm just here for the experience. I'm just here for fun. And then she was the most savage person in the voting confessional. I thought that was really funny, especially being at the cinema when it was screened. That got a really big laugh when she said "good riddance."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Josh, what questions have you got?
I thought I definitely in the game, like compared to your Meet the Cast and stuff, like you really impressed me. And I think you had so much potential. I was thinking, you know what, if I was there, I think, you have like a quiet kind of confidence. You come across as someone who would be like a good ally. And I could see myself working with you. And I do think after I've watched all the LRGs, I do think you're probably the first boot or one of the best first boots in terms of potential. Just things didn't go your way, but I do think, you kind of, you're not like a first boot because you're terrible. It's more because people were maybe threatened by you and you just unfortunately said one thing wrong to the wrong person. Like it's not, like a big detriment to yourself as a player or a person.
No, I appreciate Josh. That's really nice to say. And this is, for me, I've done an LRG before. I think CK, you might have mentioned it in the previews. So sometimes you can, go all the way and make it to the finals. And
final three,
yeah, and
right?
still top three, but 0 vote finalists. So still some things to work on there. But being first out, I think it really was one of those things where it was just saying, all right, let's just build that trust with the first vote. And then let's see how things swing after that. I think probably for most in the tribe, I would say it was a bad move. I think that probably one person it might have benefited was Danny. I think that Danny was somebody who I identified really early as somebody who's going to be a very strong player. And I think there was, CK, you might have mentioned there was one comment that was made, and that might have been another thing that really, me coming in as being very calm, quiet, collective, all of those sorts of things, I would have been, building as the game went on.
Are you willing to tell us about these moves you were going to play that no one's ever seen before, or do you want to keep them in your pocket in case you ever get another chance to play again?
As if I'm going to tell you.
Good answer. Don't tell
him. As if I'm going to tell you.
I was devastated when he got voted out because he talked about these moves.
You can blame the pink tribe. You watch how they play for the rest of the game, and you go, "Oh, imagine if Xavier was here," because there's still one particular move that if I could get to final 6, that it would be almost, I would say, an impossible move to pull off, but also it would be an instant win.
Wow.
I guess someone's just going to have to cast Xavier again in another LRG so we can actually see his amazing move. I must say, look, There's another thing about
All the real
being
thing.
the
All the
first-
real thing.
all the real thing. You have such a good attitude about being the first boot, which is amazing to see. That there's always like the thing about being a second boot or a third boot is you're never getting brought back for a third boot season, but there's always the chance for a first boot season, particularly in a community that likes to give people a second chance. So like there's Oz LRGs out there making full pre-player cast seasons. They're all returning players from different franchises. I think we need an Oz LRG first boot season, and we can finally see Xavier's move. That's what I would love.
Yeah, you could give us a call. But I think also if I'm going to be out there, I really want to give a shout out to Nat. I think that she was probably the person who, when I saw her on the other side, everybody on my team was annoyed by her, but I thought she was hilarious. And if I had have been the person, to get that advantage that Danny somehow got both of them when we went to the Uncharted Waters, I would have been saving Nat. Like no question.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
we'll be
Same.
talking about that in a moment. I think when we get to the Tortuga. Do you guys have any
Tell her I
final
say hi.
questions for Xavier?
No, I just have the comment that Xavier, like in my season, I aligned with the person I equate you with a bit, which was Todd. And I just think you were picked early by a player who had experience and saw you for the threat that you could become. And that's a really hard position to be in. And it does happen. It's happening more and more, I think, in our community now because we are playing multiple games and we have more experience. And that sucks because I think you had great potential, but maybe in the earlier days when our community was a little bit newer. So I would have aligned with you. I would have worked with you. I'm still thrilled that I had you on my draft team. So
Yeah.
Very good. And
I'm still thrilled that myself and John cast you. You were fantastic for however long you were there, and you had a great attitude about the whole thing, which it's really tough. Like you do now, and you did on the day. It's not always easy to be the first boot, and I think you handled it very, very well.
Yeah.
And can I say your exit was iconic? Taking the phone, savage. I was like, good for you. Get that revenge.
Yeah.
Love that. Good for you.
Yeah. And I've still got the Flinty Sons of bitches, so hopefully you don't have fire. No, hopefully you do have fire. I said straight away as soon as I went in, hey, you can just give this straight back to them. And the people running the show were like, nah, they deserve no Flint. They shouldn't have voted you out. You're our favorite.
yeah,
I wish it was a redemption season, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I would, as someone that was there on production, I wouldn't have given it back either. It was an awesome move, and it deserved to be captured and not undone by production interference. So well done to you.
Yeah, it was awful. So we'll see how they go for the rest of it.
Thanks, Xavier. Loved having you on, and appreciate you coming on.
Xavier.
All right, thank you all. Be
Oh, sorry, I cut you off. You want to go again?
Hey.
No, I was just going to say be kind, okay? There was somebody who was doing a draft last week. Not the most kind person or not the most kind words. I'm sure he's a very kind person. And just keep the chat very kind as well, okay?
We're trying to keep it kind. We're doing our best. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a bit about Tortuga's strategic moves. Question: was there strategy, or was there just playing cricket?
I think there was probably more strategy on their tribe. They seemed more willing to split off and have more chats, I thought. A little bit of cricket, but I thought there was some good strat chats.
I think it was an easy vote.
Oh,
I don't think there was a whole lot of strategy to it. Because I think that's the problem when, as a tribe, you see it as a really easy vote. It can be rather than, I think there was some maybe early general chat with the first four that we talked about, but if there was anything that was more in depth, I don't think we saw it. And now that like once they voted off Nat, now they're actually going to have to revisit to where loyalties kind of lie. Unanimous votes are really tricky after the unanimous vote. So
there was a great little bit. I have to go back to this bit. So they come back from the Uncharted Waters, the other group, and they've got the rice. The rice was hidden at Uncharted Waters. As someone who ate real Survivor food on Survivor, unlike you two that ate chips, the lentils suck. They're fucking horrible. The rice is actually quite good. But Greg was really into the lentils, and that's why when they brought back the rice, he's like, "Are we still going to make the lentils?" And then I love when Ash says to him, you're just going to be the lentil king now. And he's like, no, we won't be calling me that. Just like, it's done. You're the lentil king. And then they popped up with the lentil king, editing grab. It was and honestly, they called him, like, he's been called Lentil King in the group chat, like, ever since, and I never understood why, and it was amazing to finally see the reason for that. That was a fun little moment, I thought, from Ash, giving him a bit of a savage there. But it did look like you had the four, we saw them form, they brought in Evan, as you said, Mieta was immune. And so suddenly, again, we're getting a binary choice of two people. It's Nat or it's Aaron. And they split the vote.
Yeah. And it seems
only
to me
because
like Aaron's gone next. Like, I can't see him getting out of that. Him and Aaron and Nat were just totally outcast. And it seemed, like did Aaron vote for Greg? I think he did.
Yes, I think Aaron voted. Is that right? Aaron voted for Greg. Nat voted for Greg.
Yeah.
Somebody voted for someone, and then they split it. There's a split between Aaron and
it was split
Nat.
because they were worried. They wanted Nat out. They thought she might have an idol, and it was the only way they could be safe. Because it was the whole tribe was against Nat, right?
Aaron ultimately voted for Nat. We're being told.
For Nat. So it was unanimous. It was only split because they thought she had an idol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody was going on about Nat and an idol. Like, they were really, really paranoid. But maybe that is just because they were so focused on it being Nat no matter what that they had to think about that alternative. Not that maybe she wasn't even looking for one, but that was the only sort of king of their plan potentially.
It's a realistic thought process. I know Nassau, we're not having the same thought process, and we didn't get any video on that, so I might be making this up completely. But there was a map to where the idol was. Everyone had been to Uncharted Waters, and if someone had actually found the spot, they would have found the idol was actually gone because Danny had taken it.
Yeah. Well,
by mistake.
So there was one idol, one advantage?
So there was two idols, one for each tribe.
Two advantages.
We saw...
No, because Jules and Chris got an idol.
Yes.
For NASA. It was pink.
Yes.
And Danny found the Tortuga advantage.
That's the Tortuga idol. No, that's the Tortuga idol. That thing that she got two things. She found two things. She's like, I found things and pulled them both out. One was the advantage, which we'll talk about. The other was the Tortuga idol, which she just stuffed in her pocket and production had to go put back in later. But there's the possibility that they found that it was not there if someone found the spot.
Right.
So,
okay.
All right. Danny have to relinquish the idol because it was for the wrong tribe. She had to give it back to production, and it got re-hidden.
Yes, it said on the actual thing, if you are not from Tortuga, you must leave this. And she didn't read that.
I thought that was the advantage for some reason, and then I was all confused about how the advantage then meant she could play it at tribal.
No, the advantage was a different advantage. So she found two things. One she couldn't keep. Does that make sense now?
Did you miss that, Josh? I kind of missed that.
I was a bit confused with the found one because I was thinking, how does it get re-hidden? It didn't, it didn't say, oh, this was given back to production. It was just like, oh, she can't have it, and then you never heard what actually happened to it. So that was something I wanted to ask.
So the Nassau advantage never got found.
There was no Nassau advantage. Whoever got that advantage went to tribal first.
Wasn't it? Didn't it have a blue ribbon?
No, the blue
that
ribbon
was the
was the Tortuga Idol. That was the
Oh my
Tortuga
god,
Idol.
I'm gonna have to watch it again. I'm so confused.
Yeah. So the basically Nassau could have found, like, someone called Tortuga could have found the advantage that Danny found.
Yeah.
And then
I
would
get
have
it now.
given someone in Nassau the immunity.
Yeah.
Like, it would have gone the
Yeah.
other way. It just depended on who found it.
Okay. Yeah.
So is there any more on the strategy that we want to talk about from Tortuga? We get to Tribal Council. Off you go, Josh. What you got for us?
I had a few things. Nat was obviously trying to take massive control of the tribe, rubbing everybody the wrong way. I personally would have loved to play with her. I mean, I love people that are crazy and rub everyone the wrong way, you know. People, look at my friendship with Marc, for example, you know, I love those kind of crazy characters. Maybe not everybody does, but I find it endearing and hilarious. So, yeah, I would have wanted to work with her. It just sucks that, her and Aaron definitely got kind of put on an exile island almost within the tribe. And then, there was a funny confessional where somebody said, like, Greg was the only one defending Nat, but Nat was the one defending Greg. I found that pretty funny. But and then Nat kept saying, like, oh, Greg seems really standoffish. He always had negative things to say about him. But from what I saw and what everyone else seemed to say, Greg seemed really good socially. So I don't know what it was that they just rubbed each other the wrong way. I don't know what that was there, but maybe we can ask Nat that when she comes on.
What do we think about Nat taking a lot of charge? I think she took charge on the raft. I think she took charge at the camp setup, and certainly there was a bit of banter at the challenge. You know, this is just her being uniquely her own self. I'm sure we all loved it. She wasn't actually giving. She won't tell you this. She wasn't giving. We'll ask her who she was giving the finger. Adam felt like he was being given the finger. We might talk about that. But giving some of the finger and the swearing. She was, and the confessional where she's talking about how she's got this shit locked down. She's on top of the game. Love that confessional. Look, I knew who that was when I cast her. I told you I cast her of how she stood out just purely on a text-based org, and I loved her and thought she was going to be so incredible. Tell me what you guys thought of Nat on her brief stay on Uncharted Waters.
I said last week I just loved Nat. I said I thought she would have the best confessionals of the season. Unfortunately, we're not going to see any more of them, but it can go either way. You know, it's either the people you're with are going to see you for who you are and that aggressive kind of gameplay, and they're going to love that, or they're just going to want to shut it down super quickly. And maybe it is that we do have a lot of players. We've sort of got that mix of players this season. We've got some dominant ones who are wanting to keep the more subtle players around them. And those subtle players are wanting to gravitate towards people they think will protect them. And clearly Nat wasn't going to do that for them. So maybe it was just a case of dynamics. But it's such a risky strategy. Like, it's great to watch, but wow, you're putting yourself out there with a massive target on your back going, hey, I'm an easy first vote. Look at me. I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you how you're doing everything wrong. I'm going to, try to control all of you. I'm going to talk in my confessionals about how none of you know how to play the game, but I hope that you like me anyway and you keep me. So I really admire the balls it takes to play like that.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think she needs to find a very niche selection of people that will appreciate that, like we would playing with her. But unfortunately, if you're just taking a random group of 16 people, probably 14 out of 16 of them won't like that. Like, maybe if she was with Jules might like it. Maybe not even Jules, I don't know. But I think, it was hilarious, but definitely not for this group of people. I think if she could have played, to people's faces a bit more quiet, and then brought out the more personality in the confessionals, she could have lasted a bit longer. But yeah, I mean, props for her for playing and not being fake and being herself. And yeah, I would love to play with her. So sorry I wasn't there.
Tell me on a scale of 1 to infinity, how annoyed you were that Danny did not save Nat. No offense to Aaron, who would have obviously gone then.
Yeah, I was really annoyed. And I wrote a note. Is that because Danny gave it to Ash? Was that like a reciprocal, like, we're both returning players, let's protect each other kind of thing? Possibly. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just thinking, is it you don't want to upset, you got the vibe that she was going, you don't want to upset 7 other people. So you were just going to take an easy move and walk away. Nobody is going to be mad at you because you messed up their first vote. Because obviously it was clear that Nat was the first vote. So I guess if you think 7 people potentially are going to take out one person, and you can save her and mess their whole plan up, how mad are they then going to be at you? And are there repercussions longer term? So you make a vote that has no bearing on, you give it the immunity to someone that wasn't going home regardless.
Yeah, true. But then at the end, you could say, oh, you know, I was just giving it because it's the Survivor cliche that the older woman always goes home first. So you could.
Yeah, but are people going to buy that? You know, Danny knew people on the tribe. They knew Danny.
True. Yeah.
Nobody knew Danny. Nobody knew Danny. Should be clear. Nobody knew Danny.
Oh, nobody knew Danny. Okay.
Nobody knew Danny. I was there and I was devastated that Danny didn't give that immunity to Nat. I did ask Danny, who do you think's going? She's like, Nat's going. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do about it? She's like, nothing. And I'm like, that's annoying because I knew Nat was going to continue to be incredible TV. And I know she'll be incredible TV. She's going to be incredible TV for us right now. So without further ado, let me work it out. Bring in the next guest on the Orca Pod. Welcome, Nat.
Hello.
Oh my gosh.
How are you going?
I mean, sad you're here, but happy you're here.
I'm really happy to be here.
Loved you. Nat. You were hilarious.
I have a big mouth. Yes, we know.
I know you have some things to say about.
I always have something to say.
Foot over the line. We didn't talk about it on the show because I know you have a lot to say about it. Was your foot over the line? The edit made it look like maybe it was. What do you have to say?
Look, I spent most of my time in the crouching position because I was freezing. I had a jacket, I had a beanie on, and I was absolutely Baltic. So I wanted to conserve as much energy and much warmth as I could. So I got in the crouching position. And I made sure before I went down that my foot wasn't over the line. Now, at some point, they had to move. We took a couple of steps back. But at that stage, I think we went down to the 2 fingers or 1 fingers. I was in the crouching position, and I looked over, and Brady had to straighten the rope. So as he straightened the rope, it's gone over my foot. I've looked down, and before I could stand up and step back, Liz has called me, and I was just like, get fucked.
And is that, who were you giving the finger to? Was it to Brady? I understand that it was. Is that right?
I know. I don't think you could see it, but I threw my rope, and I was like, get fucked. But I think actually walking away, it very could well have been maybe to the Pink Tribe. I don't know. Look, honestly, it was 3 years ago. I don't remember what I did yesterday. To Adam, could have been to anyone. Like, I was pissed. Yeah. I was so pissed.
Yeah.
In your confessional,
I have also flipped the bird playing a game. In fact, I flipped 2 of them. So
look, I'm just so thankful there was no C-bombs going out, because that's potential. That's such a potential for me to do. So yeah,
it was the family friendly Nat, no C-bombs.
Yeah.
The in the confessionals, you're absolutely delivering You think you're in control of the game. Did you actually think you're in the control of the game, or were you just giving it to us what we want?
No, mate, I'm an actress. I've played enough online orgs that people want content. So, mate, I was given content. You know, I never thought that I was going to win this game. This personality, you can't hide this shit. I even said coming into the game, now, don't make the fire. Don't make the rice. Don't make the camp. Don't be bossy. Boom, 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 boom. Fuck.
Now what?
Yeah. So it was either I was going first or I was coming out last. But, you know, I don't regret being unapologetically me. Not one bit. Not one bit.
No, good for you. I think, you're amazing to watch. I would love to, I keep saying I would love to work with you. I think the gays love you. Definitely. You're a bit of a gay
I would so work well with gays. Gay men in particular. I don't think Jules and I would have got along well in the game. I think we would have headbutt a little bit. But gay men, they're my shtick.
I would have taken you to the end. I would have loved for you to swear at the jury and then just I can sit there and get all their votes to win. Thank you. No.
Well, you know, it's probably why I'm not on Survivor for the real thing, because, you know, every single audition I've sent, there's been fuck. So maybe they're just like, oh God. Ew.
It's a very useful descriptive word, adjective, verb, noun.
Love it. Probably say it a million times a day.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where did this beef with Greg come from? Like, you just had it in for him. He seemed like he was, from a view, obviously, we weren't there, but he seemed really social and quite friendly, kind of cute and charming from what I was seeing. But you just did not vibe. Like, what happened between you and Greg?
Nothing happened in particular. It's just I get really good reads on people. And I looked at him. He didn't even have to open his mouth. I thought, nah, I'm not going to gel with him. Don't like him. Pure and simple. That was it. He lost my love just the way he looked.
Did he try to talk to you at all and you just like fluffed him
Once
off?
again, look, I can't remember. All I remember is being cold and making fires, because that's all I could give a shit about, is keeping that fire burning. Like, that's all I wanted to do. Like, the sleeping thing at nighttime. I think it was Greg that said that at one point, or could have been Mars, one of them, they woke up at one point and saw me pace up and down.
Yeah.
I slept actually, I don't think I even slept. I laid down, and first of all, we were in this tiny space and we're packed in like sardines. I made sure I was on the end because I thought there's no way I'm going to sleep. There's not a possibility of me sleeping. So I went and sat by the fire for most of the time, and I just kept feeling that fire. I got fucking more wood, and away I go, more wood and more wood.
I don't think we should ever, and I'm a Queenslander. I grew up in central North Queensland. What Melbourne in that kind of weather does to a Queenslander. Like, we are not built for it. Our psyches are not ready for it. You do not know what to do when you can't get warm, because that doesn't happen to Queenslanders. So
mate, I'm sitting in shorts right now. Look, as soon as I saw that challenge that we had to go in the water and float a raft
and
around.
You were in a singlet and you were in shorts, I think, were you?
No, I was.
Yeah.
And as soon as my toes hit the water, I swear to God, my nipples fucking inverted. I was just like, holy
Queenslanders are just not built for that kind of
I don't know.
Bring them up to Queensland and test them out.
I don't know if I put my hand up to sit on the raft, but I probably did. Because I bossed everybody around, hello, I'm sorry, I'm bossy. Anyway, I don't know how I got on the raft. I'm assuming I put my hand up for that, but I actually squatted on it so my ass wasn't touching the water, and every time they went into these big dips, I would go into the water and I'd be like, I was freezing. And by the time I got out, I don't know, you saw me, like, it took me ages to warm up, and I don't think I warmed up at all. It was horrible, 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 horrible. And I'm sitting on the middle of the raft. I could have possibly got involved with the four at the back. No, mate. I was too busy trying to keep my ass out of the water.
Yeah.
I know that you were very keen. You're a very physical person, very, very capable at these sorts of challenges and activities. You were obviously disappointed that you didn't get to participate in more, but did you enjoy the activities you got to be a part of?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I would have loved to have done more. And, the fact that it was a water challenge, I'm a swim teacher. I should have thrived. But,
Wow.
mate, I teach in 33-degree pools.
Yeah.
33 degrees.
No.
There's a contrast between that and Baltic water. So, yeah, I didn't enjoy that. But I wish I got chance to do more challenges, because that was the whole point for me. That was my highlight of going down there. I didn't expect to win. I'm not terribly good at the strat chat because I'm just too domineering, but the challenges was the reason why I wanted to be there. So yeah.
One person you got along, well, maybe the only one that we saw really, but you and Aaron seemed to really get along. Do you remember what happened, how you bonded with him and what kind of went on there? Because that seemed like, you guys were a good duo.
We were just chatting, and I think he was the only one that really chatted with me about life and stuff. I know I spoke to KK, but the others, I don't think I really got enough time to get that one-on-one, for them to actually see the real me. All they saw was this loud swearing, me throwing banter at the other tribe. People took face value. If they had given me a chance, they would have realized that my heart is pure gold.
Yeah.
I am as loyal as fuck. And once I found my people, I would have protected them to the very end. But, I went in hot. I went in with the personality that, you just can't hide this. And, I wouldn't want to hide who I am, because I was true to myself.
Yeah. Good.
And that was one
Was
of the
it
things
pretty
I
final?
said last week was, with the right people, when you find your people and they find you, that's a killer combo.
Yeah. I looked at
100%.
I looked at the tribe when I, first met everybody, and I thought, man, there's a young bunch here. I know that I can, bring myself down to that level where I can get along with pretty much anybody. But, I don't think these were my people. I mean, if I was in the other tribe, I think I would have probably done a lot better, because there was a lot more people who are, middle range to older, where these guys were heaps young. And I'm not saying that they took me out for being the old bird, because I don't look at myself as the old chick, even though I'm 50. But yeah. Well, yeah. Woo,
Who do you
got
think-
it.
Who do you think you would have worked with if you were on Nassau? Who do you think you would have been able to work with?
Well, I knew Shelley, so
Yeah.
Shelley and I played a online game together. So as soon as I saw her in the lineup in the car park, whatever, I looked at her, she looked at me, and I just was like, and that's when the production said, no talking. I was just like, fuck, okay. But I also think that Byron and I might have clicked, being the sporty people that we were. But once again, I was excited. I'm very excited. I've got ADHD, I'm unmedicated. So fuck, bitch. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
So I go from 0 to 100 like that. Like there's no control over this shit.
Yeah.
Greg wants us to ask you about the food you snuck into the game. Did you sneak in a bunch of food?
Yeah, I did. I absolutely did. In the bottom of my sleeping bag, I had some raspberry lollies, just a little baggie, some almonds, and some dried strawberries.
Yeah. That was very civilized. I was thinking, you had a little bottle of whiskey and a packet of Tim Tams.
No. Mate, if I did, I would have taken a big bag of fucking weed.
That would have been frowned upon. Do we have any final questions? Yeah, Nassau's bags were checked thoroughly. Tortuga's were. That's because I was running. I ran Nassau, whereas John was running Tortuga, but he didn't show up the first day because he was at some concert or something. All right. So, any final comments for Nat? Or Nat, do you have any final words for us? How about your experience playing Uncharted Waters?
Look, I had an absolute ball. I have absolutely zero regrets. But as soon as I saw my name, the first Nat, my heart sunk a little bit. Then the second one came, and then it was just like, yeah, I blew it. Like I'd admit it, I blew it. I went in too strong. But I wouldn't change a thing because I was true to myself. I'm loud, I'm mouthy, I'm bossy. It's just who I am. That's how I am in life. My daughter just adores it.
And we loved you for it. The audience loved you for it. You were incredible. I love you. I loved you when I met you.
I know. I've still got my little pocket thing sitting over there that you gave me.
Are you going to show people the pop? Yeah, that was when you voted for me to win. Absolutely. This was
you want me to get it?
This was in, you can get it if you want. This was in an org where it's from a similar community, but everyone's a secret identity. But I was pretty sure it was Nat pretty early, and it was based on his Dark Materials. I was Lee Scorsese.
Yeah, it was so good.
And she really fucking teed off at me at Final Tribal Council about how it hurt her feelings and whatever. But then it was a 2-2-2, and hers was the final vote revealed, and it was for me to win. It was the first org I ever won. So we have a very long-term connection. So I love you, Nat. Thank you for being you and for being a great part of this season.
Welcome. I had a great time. Thanks.
We should flag just before that information from Xavier. He was on Mastermind, aired last night. Hopefully it can be shared on the Survivor Melbourne socials. His special category was Survivor. So I think we all need to go find that on the replay on whatever. What is Mastermind? Is it Channel 7 or is it ABC? What is that?
Sounds like ABC.
Whatever it is, go find it on the streaming. SBS, yeah, maybe SBS. Go find that so we can. That'd be amazing to watch. Special subject Survivor. I think we'll all enjoy that trivia, and of course, we have some Survivor trivia coming up very shortly. I'm also going to one special thing. Obviously, Nat was the people's champion. It's very sad that Nat went out, and therefore I don't have to spend these drinks. But I want to spend the drinks. I want to put this stuff on the community. So I'm going to give the community a second chance at CK putting on the drinks. And the way this is going to happen, it's the orcas. We'll need to check in with Mark, but I need you three to each pick one person. And if all three of those people make the final five, the drinks are still on me. So
wow, those all sound great. Really, really reliable.
You all need to pick a different person. So you three go away, come back to me tomorrow with who your picks are, and we'll reveal them next week to see if, with the information you have to hand, you can pick three out of the top five. Go away and do it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, what if you pick our top picks from our draft?
No, because now you've seen. I'm going to give you an advantage of having watched the first episode. You have a better idea of the players and their position in the game that you can make a decision upon. That what you weren't doing off the draft. I am willing to take that situation. All right. Okay. So going into TWIOLSH, our final part of the moment. It's late, but we're going to do it. I'm going to drop you out, Loz and Josh, but don't go anywhere because you may be brought in as a phone a friend for this season's TWIOLSH. We will see. I'll bring you back for the final dance in any event. Don't go anywhere. Just drop you out. And now we're going to bring in, she's on the season. We're not going to be talking about anything about the season. Those questions will be reserved for the time that she, whenever she appears on the show, depending on her, whatever her finishing position may be. Questions will not be asked. She's here purely to represent her orcaness and host TWIOLSH, and which Jules will do later in the year, but Jules isn't available right now. So let's welcome back to the show. We've missed her so much. Danny.
Hi. Look, I'm even buffless. I'm here as a party that's not involved in this season. Buffless, don't ask me questions. I will not be answering them right now.
And let me bring in my opponent for this episode. I couldn't think of anyone more appropriate but the host of Melbourne Survivor, the creator of Melbourne Survivor, for her second time on TWIOLSH. Let's welcome Liz Riley.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you fine. I see you've got a little
Great.
note there that says help. And part of this, look, I think we couldn't have picked. This is going to be a better TWIOLSH. We've changed the rules slightly. So there's going to be 6 questions: Melbourne 2, Melbourne 3, Melbourne mystery box. So it could be from anything from Melbourne 1 to Melbourne 3, plus the other 3 seasons we've chosen for the questions are going to be Backyard 4, Backyard 5, and Survivor Canberra 3. So you will have the choice. If you get one of those, if you pick one of those questions, Liz, and you're not sure about the answer, you can phone a friend on one of them, and we will bring in Josh or Loz or Mark if he was here. We could also bring in Josh for Mark's question. Josh is pretty knowledgeable about all things backyard. So, that's your call when we get it. But otherwise, it will be the standard rules. Are we ready to go, Liz? Do you have any questions?
No.
I have a question for you. I didn't remember this in Uncharted Waters. Who was doing your hair and makeup? Because you looked amazing.
Me?
You looked amazing.
Yeah, it was just BB cream.
I'm not saying you don't
and
always
I just,
look
brush
amazing.
my hair.
I'm not saying you don't always look amazing, but you look like, you're really glowed up.
Yeah.
I want to drop you off the jet ski, but like at Final Travel.
Yeah, the jet ski was not. That was so fun, though.
Okay. What question? You go, Danny, go. Take it away.
Well, let's just run through format of the game. So it's the same as it has been previously. 2 points if you can answer the question without multiple choice. But if you get it wrong, your opponent can steal.
I'm the champion.
1
This
point.
is the champion's trophy.
1 point if you hear multiple choice, but then it means your opponent cannot steal that question. Okay, and each question does have a multiple choice option. Any questions?
I'm good.
All right. And Liz,
Yeah.
Liz, you get to go first, and then you get to pick which one CK does.
Okay. Cool.
So what season are you wanting to pick from?
Okay, so I get to pick. Okay.
She has to give me a Melbourne one, by the way. She has to give me a Melbourne one.
Yes.
At the start. You can give me
Okay.
the mystery box. Unless you want the mystery box.
Okay, and I can pick a Melbourne one for myself.
Yes.
Of course.
Okay, I'll go with Warren Diet.
Warren Diet. Okay. And this is all from episode 1.
Okay.
So we're doing episode by episode. The puzzle in the immunity challenge was the face of the highest bidder from Kickstarter. What was the name of this person?
Donna.
Correct. 2
I
points.
also would have known the
Or
answer.
however you say her last name.
Liz and I once played an org with Donna where I was David and Liz was Nova and Donna was Pia. Believe it or not. There you go. Survivor dress, as she's known. She's very famous for having this dress with all these Survivor logos on it. And she's got it signed by basically almost every Survivor ever.
All right, Liz, what you got to give to CK?
Are you giving me the
Playing with
Melbourne
fire
mystery box
is
or are you giving me
dangerous,
playing with fire?
or the mystery box?
The mystery box.
Okay. CK. Melbourne Survivor Season 1 only has 1 episode. How many players are left when we start seeing more than just the recap?
5.
Correct. 2 points. All right, we are neck and neck.
And now, Liz, you can have Playing with Fire or any of the other options. Is that right, Danny?
I
Sorry,
will
Leo.
choose.
That is correct.
Yeah, I'll choose one of the seasons that you weren't on. Okay. What are the other? So, the other
Backyard
options
4,
are the
Backyard
other.
5, and Canberra vs. the World.
Okay. Okay. I'll do Backyard 5.
Okay, one well. During the scramble period, which player quoted Hamilton when describing their strategy? Talk less, smile more.
Now, you can take the multiple choice or phone in Josh if you think Josh would know the answer.
Yeah, I think I would like to phone in Josh.
CK, just question for you. Does she still get 2 points here if she phones a friend, or is she going down to 1?
She gets 2 points with the phone in.
Hi.
Hi.
I feel like I'm on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire right now. With a thing. I do remember this because I haven't watched Hamilton, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to watch that, and I always think about this person. It was Megan who said it.
Correct. It was. Wow.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you,
Yep.
Josh.
I will take Playing with Fire then. Thank you very much.
All right. The reward challenge saw players run around gathering wood for the fire. Who fell over almost immediately after the challenge began?
That was Laurel, and she
Correct.
absolutely
It was Laurel.
destroyed her knees so bad, which made me realize how tough she was from the very start. She never complained about it, but she was clearly in a lot of pain. She had to have them bandaged the whole time. Tough woman.
Very tough. All right, Liz, you've got Backyard 4 or Canberra vs. the World. And you've used your phone a friend.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I will take Backyard 4.
Backyard 4. All right. At the group breakfast, there was an idol hidden under one of the blankets that wasn't found. Which player was sitting almost directly on top of that idol?
Was it? I want to say Casper.
Incorrect. It was Josh.
Oh.
Hey, I'm just going to get multiple choice.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stole you. You didn't get those points. I'm sorry.
Outrageous. Outrageous. All right, give me.
I forgot you get that choice. I'm so sorry. That's my okay.
It's
my first time. Leave me alone. And it's like
You're so fine.
Okay, give me my final question for the win. I just need a point, so I can always get the multiple choice if I need it.
All right. The immunity challenge began with a player from each tribe untangling a rope while on a balance beam. Loz was the player for the Canberra tribe. Who did she lose to from the world?
Jesus. It's going to be multiple choice, and it's going to be 4 people, and I don't really have any idea, so I don't see any point in taking the multiple choice in case Liz doesn't remember all 8 of them. So let me just think about who it was. So obviously we're talking about the Black tribe. So they had to untie knots. I feel like some sort of like overconfident man would have said, I can untie the knots. And who are the overconfident men on that tribe? It actually wasn't filled with a lot of overconfident men. We didn't really see a lot of Jay. I wonder if that got him booted. This is not an easy question. My initial gut feel was to go with John. I'm going to go with John.
Correct. It was John. Well done. It always amazes me the way your brain works through that. It's crazy.
For real.
Thank you. But Liz, this was a much better showing than last time.
Yeah, I did redeem myself. So
yeah, absolute redemption. incredible job. Well done, Danny, and well done, Liz. Thank you for coming on, and congratulations on the first episode of Uncharted Waters. The cinema, the response, you must be so excited with the way everyone is reacting to it.
Very excited. It's been great to see everyone's comments and such and who their faves are and everything. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Love you. Thank you for coming on. And thank you, Danny. I'll remove you as you're only here in this small capacity, but we love
I'm not
seeing
a
you
bad night.
nonetheless. I'll bring back in my orcas so we can finish the show. We will be back next week, of course, probably Wednesday, which will be the day that we try and settle upon, but it will be somewhat dependent on the boots. But we'll be back covering the season. Obviously, the next episode is out Saturday night, so get in and watch it and be there ready to watch with you. Loz, Josh, get in a conclave with Mark. Give me these 3 names and out of the top 5 and see if you can win the money for the people. If you 3 can become the people's champion, we'll have to. Oh, you tell me what they are before the eepisode, but we'll reveal them next week. So you don't have episode 2 to make the decision. Thank you. But until then, we shall see you then. Thank you so much to you, Loz. Thank you to you, Josh. Thank you to Xavier and Nat. It's not always that the first boots want to come on this show or any show. It can be quite difficult to be voted off at the start of the game. And so I applaud both of them for coming on and being such great sports and great characters on the season. Thank you to everyone that watched live. We love having you watch live. We love having your engagement. It's always so much more enjoyable to do this to an audience, but we also appreciate all of you that watch after the fact. And of course, so you know when we're doing any of these things, if you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe so you can see all of our content as it comes out. We are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you prefer to listen to us in an audio format on a run or on your way to work or what have you. Thank you to those listening in the future. Thank you to those who have listened today. We love you. We will see you next week. And until then, we shall dance. Okay, there we go.